I think it's going to work out fine. And I encourage every one of you, if you want chickens, just make sure you don't make those 3 mistakes and go ahead and get them. Jump in the chicken market like the rest of us and have a good time. Hey, what's up everyone? Today we're going to be discussing the 3 mistakes that backyard chicken owners make and how they can avoid them. So the first mistake that I believe that backyard chicken owners make is they are not ready to bring in their chicks or chickens when they get them. Now, being ready, there is a lot that goes along with that. And like I said, there's a lot of planning that goes into that. First of all, you got to have housing. You got to have something that's going to hold their food. You've got to have something that's going to disperse water for them. And you've got to make them safe in general. Now, a lot of times you'll go, and I know I've been in it with my wife, she'll say, oh, we've never had these types of chickens. Let's get 2 or 3 of these chicks and raise them up. And you just kind of got to stop yourself, because you got to think, what at the house or at the chicken yard do I have that I'm going to be able to take these new chicks in or these new chickens in and then give them a quality of life setting? So a lot of people will just say, oh, these chicks are so cute, I want to get 3 or 4 of them, and they'll take them home thinking they're going to put them in a box, leave them in their garage, and then they're going to take time getting all this other stuff set up. Now that can be true, yes it can. However, that is a wrong way of going about it, because if you don't have something already set up for them, whether it's a brooding box, and that brooding box can be just a storage container with wood shavings in, and where you have their water and their food supply in with them, maybe a heat lamp source, or it could be anything up to like the big brooder that we have here. It's a big box made of plywood and 2x4s on wheels, has hardware cloth on top and opening door on it and all. And if I remember, I'll link that video in this one and you can see what we did. We have an attached heat lamp or a heat source to it to keep the chicks warm. It also keeps them safe. It really doesn't matter what it is that you have. Are you ready when you get the chicks? Do you have the supplies you need in order to keep those chicks safe and keep their well-being at a high level until they mature enough to put them out into the coop? Which brings me to the second part of this, part of not being ready, and that is, where are you going to put them after you get them out of the chick stage and into the smaller chicken stage up to the mature chicken stage? Do you have a chicken coop already for them? Is it a large enough coop? What type of security do you have on that coop? What is going to protect them? Is it just the coop itself, or is it a chicken coop with a run? Or are you going to allow them to run around your backyard? And if you're going to run them around your backyard and allow them to do that, are there any poisonous plants there? Are the neighborhood dogs able to get in there? Are neighborhood cats able to get in there? If you have a tree line near you, or raccoons or possums or anything like that, even flying predators like hawks, are they going to be able to get to your chickens? And if so, once you think about that, then you need to have things in place before you get the chicks and bring them home, or even before you go get mature chickens from your neighbor's house or from the store, the feed store. A lot of feed stores sell mature chickens. So before you go get those, do you have things in place for them to be ready to be housed in that? Now, the second mistake I see a lot of new chicken owners make, or to be quite honest with you, I've made it in the past before, so I can verify that this actually takes place. That at the time you get the chicks, you get too many. Or the time you get the chickens, you get too many. And so what does that do? That refers you back to number one. Are you ready for that number of chickens? if you've bought one of these little chicken coops at the big box stores, and y'all have all seen them, they look like little small replicas of houses with a little bit of wire on them and things like that. They maybe hold 2 to 5 chickens at the very most. And then you end up saying, you know what, I want 4 or 5 of each of those, and there's 3 different kinds, or there's 4 different kinds of chickens in there. And next thing you know, you're coming home with 15 or 20 chicks, but you only have housing enough and resources enough for maybe 2 to 5. So getting too many chickens itself is definitely a problem. So on the thought of bringing home too many chicks or too many chickens, I'll give you an example of us this year. I had built this large brooding box, and we were down to 8 chickens. And so I said, you know what, we're going to go ahead and get everything that we need in this one purchase, and then we're going to raise them up as chicks and put them in the chicken coop. So that meant that I put 41 chicks in our brooding box. Now, our brooding box did just fine. It was plenty big for all of them. We could have probably put 50 in there and things like that. But what I didn't take into account, I was taking in the size of the brooding box. What I didn't take into account was needing to clean it that many times for that many chicks. Because usually we'll do deep bedding in our brooding box and just let it sit. And then 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, we'll pull them out once they get their feathers, and we'll put them in the coop for 3 or 4 days with the older chickens, leaving the coop closed so they realize what their home is. If I had to do it again, I would have done it in 2 sets of 20. So that's just an example of one way. Even though we were set up and ready to go with a brooding box, with a chicken coop, with the feed, with the waterers, with the heat lamp and all of that, hindsight's 20/20 for me. So could it have been a mistake? Yeah. Did it turn out, everything turned out all right? Turned out perfect. But if I had to do it all over again, I'd have done it in 2 sets of 20. So think about that. If you're getting into chickens, it's always easier to go get more than it is to deal with having gotten too many at one time. Okay, so let's move on to number 3. Number 3 is being too protective of your chickens. Now, I know a lot of people see these chickens as pets, and they love them, they take care of them and all that. We do the same with ours, but we do realize that they are a farm animal, and their objective here is to do our job, their job for us, which is to keep the flies down from off the livestock. So they are free to roam and all and eat the larvae from the flies and things like that. So it keeps the fly population down for our livestock. And in return, we get eggs. We also have them out on our compost piles, and they turn our compost piles, and they are little machines. But we just let them roam. We'll come out and check on them 3 or 4 times a day, make sure everything's going good, make sure there's no predators out here bothering them, things of that nature. And a lot of times, to be quite honest with you, there's been several times where we turn them out in the morning, and the next time we see them is in the evening, right? So these chickens know how to take care of themselves. They don't really need you standing over them and moving them this way and moving them that way. And a lot of times you're so overprotective of the chickens that you spend enormous amounts of resources in order to protect the chicken that you don't really need to spend. So you need to really do some type of threat assessment, like I said at the beginning of the video. Are there neighborhood dogs? Are there cats? You know, do you have a problem with hawks? You know, how about possums? How about raccoons? You know, we've got a high population of coyotes out here, raccoons and skunks and things of that nature. So we've got different protective measures set up for them. So you need to assess your situation and figure out exactly what you need, and don't be overbearing on the chickens. Just let the chickens be chickens. If you got them in a little penned in area, just let them go at it, you know, and grab a cup of tea and sit out in a lawn chair and just watch them be chickens. There's no need to be overprotective and treat them like you know you would a little puppy. So chickens know how to take care of themselves. They know how to feed themselves. They know how to water themselves. You just need to be able to provide those resources. Shelter, food, water, and some type of protection. That's the 4 basics of owning chickens. So if you can get past not having your resources available, and you can get past buying too many chickens at one time, and you can get over being too protective of these animals, you're going to have a happy life with these chickens. I guarantee you they're going to be a great resource for you, and you will really enjoy having chickens. There is absolutely no reason to stress over chickens. But once you have everything set up, once you've thought out the process, where I want my house, how I'm going to feed them, how I'm going to water them, you know, how I'm going to protect them, how many can I have that's really reasonable in this area, I think it's going to work out fine. And I encourage every one of you, if you want chickens, just make sure you don't make those 3 mistakes and go ahead and get them. Jump in the chicken market like the rest of us and have a good time. I appreciate you watching this video. I'll put another one on the screen. Hope you guys enjoy it. We'll see you next time. You guys have a blessed day.